On the edge of a sleepy village, where the land met the forest in a quiet embrace, lived a small boy named Arlo. His home was a modest cottage, nestled amidst meadows that rippled like green oceans under the caress of the wind. Arlo had an unusual fascination, one that marked him different from the other children of the village. Where others found joy in games and mischief, Arlo found solace in the soil beneath his fingernails and the scent of freshly turned earth. His heart beat for the rhythm of planting, nurturing, and watching life unfurl. The first hints of Arlo's passion appeared when he was no more than 4 years old. On a cool spring morning, while wandering the meadow behind his house, Arlo found an acorn nestled in the grass. It was no different from the hundreds of other acorns scattered across the ground, but to Arlo it felt like treasure. With careful hands, he dug a shallow hole and placed the acorn within, covering it with soil as though tucking it into bed. That night, he dreamt of towering oaks swaying against a sapphire sky, their branches heavy with life and song. Years passed, and Arlo's fascination with planting deepened. By the time he was 8, the meadow behind his house had transformed into a tapestry of green. Saplings of varying shapes and sizes dotted the landscape, their leaves shimmering with dew each morning. Arlo's days followed a sacred ritual: rise with the sun, plant with care, and tend to the growing life around him. He spoke to the plants as he worked, not with words, but with the gentle touch of his hands and the devotion in his eyes. Arlo had a knack for spotting potential in the most unlikely of places. He could coax life from a patch of earth that seemed barren and breathe vitality into seeds others discarded. In the heart of summer, when the sun blazed high and the fields lay parched, Arlo would carry buckets of water from a distant stream. His wiry frame grew strong from the labor, his small shoulders bronzed by the relentless sun. The plants repaid his effort tenfold, springing up lush and vibrant under his care. But Arlo was not content to stop at the meadow. The forest, that vast enigmatic world beyond the village, called to him. Its towering trees seemed to whisper secrets in the wind, beckoning him to venture deeper. One autumn afternoon, with the air crisp and the leaves blazing in hues of amber and crimson, Arlo ventured into the forest with a satchel of seeds slung over his shoulder. He wandered until the familiar sounds of the village faded, replaced by the symphony of rustling leaves and distant birdsong. In a secluded glade, where sunlight poured through a canopy of branches like liquid gold, Arlo began his work. The earth here was richer, darker, and seemed to pulse with a quiet energy. Arlo knelt and dug small holes, planting seeds he had gathered from his meadow and beyond. He worked until the sun dipped low, painting the sky in strokes of violet and orange. As he turned to leave, he glanced back at the freshly planted glade and felt a swell of pride. This place would be his secret sanctuary, a testament to his love for life. The seasons turned, each bringing its own challenges and rewards. Winter tested Arlo's resolve, blanketing the world in snow and halting his planting. Yet even then, he found ways to nurture his passion. He studied the patterns of frost on the windows, imagining how the delicate designs could inspire his future plantings. When spring returned, Arlo worked with renewed vigor, his hands a blur of motion as he sowed new seeds and tended to the young plants emerging from the soil. As Arlo grew, so too did his creations. The meadow behind his house became a verdant wonderland, a place where every tree and flower bore the mark of his care. The glade in the forest flourished, its once empty expanse now a thriving ecosystem of towering trees, vibrant shrubs, and delicate wildflowers. Birds built nests in the branches, and small creatures made their homes in the underbrush. Arlo's heart swelled with a quiet joy each time he visited, knowing he had given life to something so beautiful. But Arlo's greatest triumph came one summer when he stumbled upon a withered sapling on the edge of the forest. Its leaves were brittle, its trunk leaning as though burdened by its own weight. Most would have dismissed it as beyond saving, but Arlo saw potential. He carried the sapling to his meadow and planted it in the richest soil he could find. For weeks, he lavished it with attention, watering it diligently and shielding it from harsh winds. Slowly the sapling began to recover. Its leaves turned from brown to green, its trunk straightened, and its roots delved deep into the earth. Years later, that sapling grew into a magnificent oak, its branches stretching skyward in a triumphant display of resilience. Arlo often sat beneath its shade, his heart brimming with pride. The oak became a symbol of his journey, a reminder that even the smallest, most fragile things could thrive with care and determination. Arlo's world was one of quiet magic, a realm where his hands and the earth worked in harmony to create beauty. The village began to take notice of the transformation he had wrought. Though Arlo remained a solitary figure, his work spoke volumes. The meadow and forest glade became places of wonder, drawing villagers who marveled at the lush greenery and vibrant blooms. Some began to leave small gifts for Arlo, a basket of fruit, a bundle of herbs, as tokens of their gratitude. As the years passed, Arlo's connection to the land deepened. He learned to read the subtle signs of the seasons, the language of the wind, and the rhythms of the earth. His hands grew calloused, his skin weathered, but his spirit remained youthful, buoyed by the life around him. The boy who had once planted an acorn in a meadow had become a steward of the land, a guardian of green. One evening, as the sun set behind the forest, Arlo stood atop a small hill overlooking his meadow. The world around him glowed with a golden light, the trees casting long shadows that danced with the wind. He felt a profound sense of peace, a contentment that came from knowing he had given back to the earth that had given him so much. In the quiet of that moment, Arlo closed his eyes and imagined the acorn he had planted so many years ago. In his mind's eye, it had grown into a towering oak, its branches reaching for the heavens. And beneath its shade, the boy who loved to plant dreamed of a world forever green.